what is emotional eating? And do you think maybe we all might be a little susceptible to emotional eating from time to time?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like we're hardwired to have an emotional connection with food.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we started with, anybody was breastfed. I mean, that's a really special, beautiful experience where you bond with your mother through breastfeeding. And so I think it's just how we're wired. So yes, I think everybody does, as far as I know, and any research I've done among friends and otherwise, everybody has a propensity to be like, God, I'm bummed out. I need some comfort. Give me some chips, give me some potatoes, or
Chocolate.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
chocolate. So I think
Mhm.
it's a natural thing to do. So what I really say to people is it's really a spectrum. So on the low end of the spectrum would be emotional eating, where we're all, we have it, like we have that ability to emotionally eat. And on the high end of the spectrum is food addiction. And I actually have a quiz on my website where people can figure out where they are on that spectrum, because it's qualified by two things. One is control and one is consequences. So
Okay.
in the low end, for example, somebody goes on a cruise and, they have a great time. They drink it up. They, do the buffet when we have cruises, of course. And so they gain 5 pounds. They come
Mhm.
home, they're 5 pounds heavier. They're like, feeling a little sluggish. My pants are tight. I'm
Yeah.
going to jog extra this week and I'm going to cut out sweets. Boom. A week, 2 weeks later, 5 pounds is off. No biggie. Okay.
Yeah.
That's somebody who has a lot of control
Okay.
versus somebody who, is trying to do good. And then the pandemic happens. And I literally have talked to women who've put on 50 pounds in the pandemic,
Mhm.
because they just, all it took is that trigger, that like really severe trigger, obviously,
Yeah.
of the pandemic. And they're just going down the tubes and they just dive into the food and they don't stop. And just one thing leads to another, one day after the next, they're trying and trying, but they're falling down and they're just eating crappy food and
Yeah.
feeling crappy. And when you feel crappy, you don't want to exercise. So you just, it just progresses downward in a spiral. So that's somebody who's really addicted, where it has a lot of negative consequences. So that's where that, lack of control
Okay.
and mounting consequences. That's somebody on the high end of the spectrum. So if somebody
Okay.
has consequences like health issues, diabetes, prediabetes, autoimmunity, heart disease, depression, anxiety, self-hatred,
Mhm.
just low self-esteem. They don't want to hang out with their friends. They don't want to have sex. They don't want to be seen naked. It's like, there are so many consequences that people don't think of that come with overeating and sugar addiction and, of course, obesity. And so the more consequences, and the older we get, the more consequences we have, joint pain, health issues like that. So, somebody who's got a whole lot of consequences and very little control, that's when they're more in the food addiction or, part of the
Okay.
spectrum.